The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our 30 on Thursday webinar, Tackling Digital Transformation Through an Intelligent Process Automation Approach. Just a little bit about Protiviti before we get started, where we provide consulting solutions in finance, technology, operations, data analytics, governance risk, and internal audit to our clients through our network of more than 70 offices in over 20 countries. Our full-service software solutions team provides consulting and on-demand support for SharePoint, Office 365, Salesforce, Nintex, Sitecore, Kentico, SQL, and .NET. Our 30 on Thursday webinar series is a 30-minute webinar series every month on Thursdays. Our next webinar will be on November 8th, where we will be providing an introduction to Power BI. You can register for that webinar and see our full event schedule on our website, ecm.protiviti.com. Our presenter today, Jason Tillman from Nintex, will be demonstrating how you can digitally transform your organization using Nintex powerful tools. Here at Protiviti, we provide Nintex services and support. We are a 5-time Nintex Partner of the Year. If you aren't currently using Nintex, we can get you started with a workflow starter package. We also provide online training and in-person training, and we provide on-demand support for all of Nintex's tools. If you're interested in learning more about our Nintex services and support, you can visit our website. Today's webinar is being recorded. You can access the recording and see all of our past webinar recordings on our YouTube channel. For questions during today's presentation, please use the question window in the GoToMeeting toolbar, or you can live tweet us your questions using the hashtag 30TNintex. We will be saving all the questions until after Jason's presentation. So today's presenter is Jason Tillman with Nintex, and I am Julia Marple, and I will be moderating today's session. All right, Jason, I will turn it over to you.
Perfect. Trying to get this so it shows up. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. So let me just minimize this. So much like what was shared a little bit earlier, we're going to be talking about tackling digital transformation through an intelligent automation approach here. I am Jason Tillman. I work on the product team over here over at Nintex. The area of specialty that I have over here is really focused a lot on financial services, legal. So a lot of the industries that have a lot of process associated with it. And so something I'm very passionate about is intelligent process automation, and hope to run through that today. So looking at today's agenda, really break it into 3 distinct areas here. And this may seem like 3 small buckets, but there's a lot to talk about. First one is just looking over quick review over some of the digital transformation challenges. Then we're going to delve into the intelligent process automation approach. And as a subset for that, we want to share an example of what one of our clients actually has done in terms of approaching digital transformation and how that leads into looking at digital transformation from this IPA or intelligent process automation approach. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of go through a quick Q&A at the end. And so let's kick things off by just talking a little bit about the challenges associated with digital transformation here. So it really may come across as no surprise that across really all different industries, there are a lot of pressures to digitally transform the way you really conduct business. And so although there's certain sectors out there that are a bit more advanced than others along the digital evolution spectrum, really everybody's getting impacted by this. And so along with these pressures comes this winner-take-all market dynamic, whereby organizations that really take the lead with evolving their business for the digital age really dominate their various industries. And so when you take a look at what's really driving this, are really a number of factors. For example, this fairly long laundry list you'll see over here on the right-hand side, but there's just kind of a subset is the ready availability to and the ease of use of tools to automate processes. There's a rapidly changing customer journey. Customers are no longer really going on that journey that they did 5, 10 years ago. There's the importance of intelligence to fuel critical business decision making nowadays, just because of the propensity to have so much data out there. How do you use that? And then there's the need to ensure trust and compliance across a really dramatically changing landscape that's out there. So one of our clients, Man Energy Solutions, has a really unique perspective on how to tackle digital transformation, which will provide a little bit more context in terms of this intelligent process automation approach. So for those of you who are not familiar with Man Energy is a German organization that generates about 3 billion euros annual in revenue with about 14,000 employees worldwide. So they're a very well-known company within Europe, very large organization. So approaching digital transformation was actually a particular challenge for them. And so, like many organizations, they had a transformation goal in mind. And from their starting point to their end point, in a perfect world, it would just be a straight line. You have the start, it goes right over to the end, and it's done. Unfortunately, when you look at many paths in life, the path is actually a little bit anything but straight. Connecting various legacy systems, their stakeholders and resources, both inside and outside the company or organization, that really complicate things. So that straight road turns into a lot more of a windy road that isn't quite as efficient as you would really want it to be. So the level of complexity is definitely a bit more there. So Man Energy really found that a hybrid approach worked best as they realized that while straight line between the start and end seemed like the best option, in reality it's a little bit different that we just saw. So the number of legacy systems needed to remain in place for one reason or another, and that's something that they just really couldn't change, at least in the immediate term. These parts of the process really stayed, but other portions of the process really were areas that they looked at automating to maximize their outcomes on there. So they're going to know and realize that it's great in digital transformation that you change everything. It could be just various things, factors within the organization, whether technological or just more in terms of processes or change management that can't quite be changed. So hybrid approach is something that they really took in and looked at actually employing currently. Over the long term, they're actually looking at streamlining the entire thing. So again, still aiming for that straight line if at all possible, but with the realism of what's actually happened with organizations, that's actually something that they want to keep inside mind. And so they refer to their thought process on this as by the acronym LAR, which stands for Lean, Automate, and Robotize. And so the thinking here goes that you first streamline your existing processes, or in this case, make them lean. That includes evaluating the processes to determine if there's any more efficient way to actually run them. And then next, you want to take these new leaner processes and automate them. And then finally, what you want to do is you want to add in various AI solutions, whether they be RPA bots, machine intelligence, cognitive agents, where they make the most sense. And that's really that robotize stage there. So starting right up front, looking at and really doing a crucial analysis of what are you trying to accomplish? Don't look at what you're currently already doing right now, but look at what you want to do. And then from there, build upon a process that's lean and really focused on efficiency. Automate those using the available tools that you have at your disposal, and then robotize those by filling in those gaps for ways that you can take those more rote human kind of areas there or opportunities to actually analyze it via machines, and then really take advantage of those whenever possible. And so the thinking goes here is that you want an opportunity to digitally transform well. And so when you really take a look at what does that actually mean, it's the opportunity to ensure that you're impactful, that it generates impact. Whatever you're trying to digitally transform really drives what we're really wanting to accomplish. It's quick to create and deploy. It's smart and can provide intelligence to your endeavor. It scales with your organization's needs. It drives efficiency. And yet it's approachable to stakeholders so they can contribute towards its success. But overall, what you really want to do is digitally transform right. And so you really want to make sure that's right for your organization and its unique needs. And so organizations are really looking to digitally transform their business processes, and this can be done in any number of ways. And so as we shared with the Man Energy example, it's important to fundamentally revisit what you're trying to accomplish, and then really re-architect your process to be focused on outcomes. So it's not simply saying, I'm going to replace human resource process A with machines. That's really not the way to approach things. You really want to take a look, what do you want to accomplish as an outcome, and then kind of work back from there, and then look at the tools and resources you have available in order to kind of fill in the gaps and help you accomplish that. So now that we've actually taken a look at digital transformation from a bit more of a higher perspective, let's take it down a level and actually look at things at a little bit more at the rote level. So here we have a generic and rather simple process to frame our discussion. And so oftentimes there's a tendency to select one technology tool and then leverage it across every stage of the process. So this can take the form of, let's say, for example, an RPA bot or maybe even an OCR solution. But as we all know, each tool has their strengths and areas where it might not be the best solution. So this can lead to inefficient processes and outcomes that might not be aligned with what your needs are. So when we fixate on just one tool, we lose sight that there are many different tools available to approach digital transformation. And so a better path would really be through an IPA, or what we refer to as intelligent process automation approach. So this is an excellent spot to review through the key components of what an intelligent process automation toolkit would look like. And so first off here is advanced workflow. And this is all about making the jobs people do easier. So it's a way to automate, orchestrate, and optimize time-consuming tasks and really transform them into efficient, automated processes through a no-code solution to make sure that the creation and modification of workflows are really accessible to those who know the processes best. So whether it's someone on the front line of your organization that knows it best, someone in the back office, it's those individuals who know these processes, have the ability to go in and make those changes, creation and changes, so therefore they actually speak to what actually is being done out there. And then next we have document generation. And you could think of this as the capability of pulling data from multiple data sources and outputting them to a variety of various endpoints. So it's really all about creating logic-driven documents. And with those documents, it can move forward and save time at the very front end, but in the back end, you could then leverage those documents at scale for whatever your desired outcomes looking at. And then after that's mobile apps and forms. You could think of these as really what the name's alluding to, is capturing critical data across the organization from really wherever on any sort of device or form, or maybe even smart devices that are out there. Oftentimes when you look at processes, this is where a lot of them start. So someone's filling out a form on your website, on a mobile application. It's really wherever the kickstart or trigger is where it really gets started. So that's actually a crucial part, particularly at the start. Then there's process mapping. And so it's really crucial for organizations to understand that, what kind of process do they have, and then really go through there and document that. So it's also important to empower stakeholders who own or manage those processes to create the necessary documentation, and then not just stop there, but really consistently update them. So think of this as, I heard the great analogy of putting your socks on before you slip on your shoes. Really understand what your processes are first off, getting those individuals who actually live and breathe those processes on a day-to-day basis to collaborate with those, not just on a one-time, let's take a look at it now, because let's face it, we have organizations that are changing dramatically from day to day. Let's make sure that our processes actually map to those. And then we have another component is RPA. And for those of you who are not familiar, that's robotic process automation. And it really empowers organizations to automate more rote functions carried out by a human. And then we have process intelligence. And so by providing really operational insight into how processes are doing, users can really identify patterns, review any and resolve any sort of bottlenecks, and really drive the optimization of business value. And then finally, we have machine intelligence. And so this is kind of a broad-based term here, but helps in workflow extract meaning from things such as unstructured data, learning as it goes to recognize things such as words, predict images, and automate and anticipate the best path for approval on these. So each tool has a particular use. And so when you look at each one of these individually, there are a certain amount of use, but adding these all together in terms of intelligent process automation toolkit really makes the most sense. They really provide a foundational way to deliver on outcomes. But really underlying these tools is that no-code solution that you empower those non-developers who are out there, which comprise the vast majority of the folks within your organization, to quickly deploy solutions to dramatically quicken up time to value, which is very important when you look at these the ever-changing organization and the needs and the environment that's out there, you can't stay still. You constantly have to be evolving and then getting that time to value as quickly as possible, particularly if you're looking at that winner-take-all thesis that we looked at initially. So now we have a relatively simple process leveraging the elements of an IPA approach. So the key here is to leverage the best tool resources when and where they can make the most outcome desired in the most efficient way possible. So as we just reviewed over, there's no single tool or resource that is used across the board, and the strength of each really helps to create that robust solution that's needed. Because all of us have individual industries and individual organizations that are unique. There's a little bit that is common across the board, but there's a lot that really makes us stand out individually. So as you can see here, there's many of those IPA approach tools here, such as document generation. You'll see mobile apps at the very front, as well as towards the end, there's the machine intelligence. And so up here in the upper right-hand corner, we have connections to machine services, which connects to processes and powerful tools such as RPA, machine learning, and various other external resources. You can think of this as machine intelligence. And then down below, we have more human actions or human-centric actions. These are steps that involve you and I. So it's whether it's approval of a contract or task, or even just a simple entry of data into a form. But the key here is that all of these components working together is the advanced workflow which orchestrates across both the human and machine-centric steps. You can think of the workflow as the glue that combines everything together. You can have the greatest tools in the world across here, but if they're not talking together and being orchestrated amongst one another, you're really missing out. Workflows, for example, run into exceptions from time to time. Advanced workflow really handles those and routes them to the alternative path to eliminate any sort of process error standstill. If all of a sudden you see in stage 3 there's a broken process there, the rest of the process just dies. If you do have an intelligent process automation approach, it will continue on, and so therefore you don't have to worry about those standstills or coming in at 6 o'clock in the morning the next day with a huge error backlog having to resolve while you know that nothing's been accomplished that entire night. And then an added benefit for the use of a no-code solution here is the ability to quickly evolve the workflow as a client needs change. So if, for example, if you have a change in a competitive situation or processes change or regulatory one, you can actually change that on that floor level. So someone who's really out there in front can actually do that. And so even if you are connected to like right now a legacy system, let's say an AS400 system that somehow is in there, but a year from now you want to move to a more modern and connected tool, those changes can be done quickly without any sort of major coding effort. So again, it applies back to that nimbleness that we all need. And so in terms of phases, so you can look at this and say there's a lot you can do here, and digital transformation is not something you can do overnight or over the course of a very short period of time. But we like to think of these as various phases here. And so the first one here is you can think of as phase 1. And this is quickly automating as many business processes as possible without code. This results in a very quick time to value and an easier time for internal champions to highlight returns on the engagement's cost. This is going to be the vast majority of what you do. If you look at all the processes that you have, a lot of these can actually be accomplished rather quickly with no-code solutions. Again, you're distributing that work amongst individuals who are on the front lines. They can get these things done, automated very quickly, and so therefore it's just not one organization or team that has that responsibility. And then you also know that it really reflects what those initial individuals on the front lines are actually doing. And then the second stage here is phase 2, and this is where you can progress on to more trained solutions which can enhance the value of the no-code solutions. So this can involve tools like what we reviewed through a little bit earlier, such as RPA, cognitive services, and even machine learning. So these can enhance what you've currently already done in that initial stage and really ensure that you're driving that level of efficiency towards that outcome you want to get to. And then finally, there's phase 3. And phase 3, no matter what you're looking at, you're going to say, that's great. You just said we can do a lot of these automation through no-code solutions and get that quick time to value and leveraging those people on the front lines. But what about those mission critical areas that are incredibly complex? And we admit there's plenty of those areas out there, and they can entail the use of heavily coded applications, though these require a lot more time to create and deploy, you get that time to value up front. And so you can really kind of accentuate the fact of, yes, we are making progress toward digital transformation goals. And it's not something where you sign an agreement with your provider and then all of a sudden a year, 2 years down the line, you really haven't had a lot of traction. By taking a intelligent process automation approach, you can get that quick time to value and then highlight to those individuals who are who you're reporting up to that, yes, we are making progress and here's how we're doing it. So why an IPA approach really makes sense? And where it really comes down to is, first, it's a way to minimize the inevitable disruption of how your organization conducts business. Let's face it, when you look at this digital transformation view, digital transformation involves, just the term transformation, a lot of change. And change management, at least from my perspective, in terms of speaking at numerous events so far about digital transformation, it's something where change management is a major concern. You want to minimize those disruptions as much as possible by, again, looking at that phase one and automating a lot of those with the help of those who are on the front line. So again, change management, it becomes a reduced concern there and disruption is actually minimized. Next is faster time to value. By automating these through no-code approach, a lot more individuals can actually work on it. You get faster time to value. It then becomes easier to justify the cost of the projects because now you have milestones that you can actually come through and say, look at all this great progress we've made in just X number of months. And so we're moving towards this digital transformation goal. And those who actually approve the project to actually move forward will actually see that there's a lot of progress going forward. And so they feel justified in terms of the cost. And then that also comes up into milestone-based outcomes. You can actually say we're going to hit this particular milestone 2 months, 3 months in, what have you. Could even potentially weeks, depending on what you actually are doing, or even days if you really have some of these quicker processes you actually take a look at. And then that creates a foundation for future modifications. If right now you're dealing with a certain ecosystem of tools and resources and you want to evolve that as it goes along, you don't have to restart that from the ground zero by saying, hey, we're going to have a brand new system coming in, a new ERP system coming in a year from now. You can actually build what you currently have right now and then modify that with a quick drag and drop and no code connection to what those systems are in the future. So we saved who is Nintex for the very last, because let's face it, when we attend a lot of these webinars, it's great that we have someone who is telling us about these things, but really what we want to do is we want to find out what is their message and is this someone who we really trust? And so really take a look at who Nintex is in a nutshell, when you take a look at the options available to you when you want to automate your processes, there are really two dimensions you're really looking at. And the first one is ease of use. And if you look here, it's that y-axis. And then there's the level of sophistication of your processes. And so at one end of the spectrum, what you're seeing right here are really the traditional business process management providers who handle those very complex, mission-critical projects incredibly well, in fact. The challenge is that they oftentimes are multi-year engagements and quite costly and really heavily coded. So modifying any of those workflows that you get done to evolve with your business or even provide frontline employees to build and scale that level of getting these things automated really isn't possible on that front. Conversely, on the other side of the spectrum, when you look at that ease of use is really high, is really the grouping that we refer to as personal productivity solutions. And so these are normally really simple to use, but really lack the ability to handle much more than just basic processes. So they're limited to automating the work of small teams, individuals, not necessarily for the enterprise. So as you can see, there's actually quite a bit of a gulf between these two camps. And so what's really needed is a no-code solution that's accessible to more than just developers, yet can handle these sophisticated workflows that enterprises are known for. And that's where really Nintex's intelligent process automation platform really comes in. So we really provide a no-code intelligent process automation platform, which makes it easy to create robust workflows and even easier to modify them when your business evolves. Because let's face it, we're not going to stand still. Digital transformation is something that's going to constantly be here, constantly evolving. We want to make sure that we're nimble enough that we can do that. So to give you an idea of the ways that our clients have utilized IPA to automate their processes is we have use cases spanning across pretty much any department you can really imagine. Everything from human resources to legal to marketing. So if you have a process in mind, there's a strong chance that we've helped another organization automate it. Additionally, if you look at it beyond just the departments themselves, We actually have use cases across various industries. So really ranging from banking institution and wealth management firms to manufacturing organizations, medical device companies, and even public sector, so state and local government, federal government, and the like. So if you're looking for examples or maybe inspiration about what other organizations, particularly within your functional area or within your industry, feel free to reach out and ask about those, because I think that the folks at Protiviti, those of us over at Nintex, we've seen a lot of these and can certainly help you with those, because again, that process towards digital transformation is sometimes a bit daunting. And so a final slide, because I know that we're kind of getting close on time here, is just in a nutshell, we as Nintex help automate, orchestrate, and optimize your process with the easy-to-use, no-code platform that connects really the systems that you have right now to really drive that outcome. So whether it's a ERP system, file storage system, legacy system, we're built for change and easy enough for the lines of business, but really trusted by IT. And with that, I know we got a couple minutes left, but any questions? I know that was kind of a whirlwind, this kind of a quick 30 minutes one, but would definitely be open for any sort of questions you have out there.
Thanks, Jason. We did have a question about the recording. We will be posting the recording on our YouTube channel. Another question that we got is, what about integration with other systems like Salesforce? Do Nintex tools integrate with those?
Yeah, and that's actually a great question, because no matter if you got the most robust tool in the world that is super accessible, very, very robust, if it doesn't connect to these tools and systems that you have now or in the future, what use of it? And so we actually have two different levels. So the first one is we have connectors, and connectors are pretty much out of the box connections. We have things like Salesforce and other tools, Office, if you're using things such as Google or the like. The most popular business tools out there, we have connectors already built in with those. But if it's something, let's say it's a legacy system, that's a great opportunity to incorporate RPA in terms of getting those in there. When you're looking at, let's say, an ERP system, for example, let's say you connect to SAP S/4HANA, for example, or maybe some other unique system that you currently have over on the side, that's where the extensions really come in. So as long as the system has an open API, then we can actually connect to that. And so therefore you can incorporate that into your workflow. So we work with what you currently already have right now, but also if you're going to make modifications in the future, which you no doubt will, you can easily change those in and out without fundamentally having to reinvent what that workflow is.
Okay, great. And as mentioned before, we will be posting our recording on our YouTube channel. We will be sending out the recording link to all of today's attendees. Thank you all for attending today's presentation. Thank you, Jason. Lots of great information there.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we will see you all next month, where we will be talking about an introduction to Power BI. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.